The story of the Xbox is a tumultuous one, filled with humble beginnings in the original Xbox, with Halo catapulting and almost single-handedly saving the brand from a quick demise, to the heights of the Xbox 360, revolutionizing online play and bringing a huge swath of features that came with it: digital download, online play, chat and more, popularizing franchises like Halo, Call of Duty and Battlefield to new heights that are still felt today. So when it came to the generation after that, all anyone wanted was a better Xbox 360, which is exactly what the PS4 was and the Xbox One wasn't. The failures of the Xbox One reveal are so numerous, it's honestly astounding to watch one company get so much wrong on their third attempt. From a less powerful system than its competitor, a force bundled in Kinect making it $100 more expensive, online DRM having to be online to access your games, and a huge focus on it being a home entertainment box, not a gaming console. I personally view a game platform like Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam or Xbox to have three core responsibilities. First is to provide a great platform to play these games through the consoles, marketplaces, Xbox Live, achievements, their PC push, and personally very important to me, backwards compatibility. I feel like even during the worst in the Xbox One generation, this was always a solid experience and something that has been level even with PlayStation and perhaps even exceeding them depending on preference. Second is to invest in future technology and innovation within gaming. With Game Pass and cloud gaming specifically, I feel like this has been a strong point for Xbox since the mid Xbox One generation. Game Pass is something I love, and I feel like the subscription-based model being the new standard in music, film, TV, and even to a lesser extent reading, which I consume via my Audible subscription, it's really an inevitability that this model will one day become the standard in gaming. And with the cloud aspect, while it isn't technology that particularly interests me, as latency improves, I fail to see how consoles could keep up given their huge expensive buy-in price. Third is perhaps the most important, and this is to be a great games publisher, something which last generation PlayStation was phenomenal at, while Xbox was pretty lousy. While there were still some great games, Forza Horizon was always good, Gears was always solid, and some others like Sunset Overdrive were really unique, they really didn't have the appeal that a lot of Sony or Nintendo first-party games had. At E3 2018, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, came out and announced a dramatic change in this new renewed focus on Xbox first party, game expanding from 5 studios to over 20 they have now. And since then, having acquired more independent studios, a whole publisher in Bethesda, and attempting to acquire the biggest publisher on the market, Activision Blizzard. At the recent Xbox Game Showcase, we saw for the first time the long-awaited fruits of this labour, with a look at a lot of the games promised to us years ago with the purchase of these studios. But before talking about these games specifically, I want to address I've seen a lot of discouragement from people saying how these games are taking too long and saying that mismanagement has led this way, which is something I completely disagree with. The bulk of these studios were bought in 2018, and with game development at the moment, it appears 5 years is to be the average time that it takes for a studio to develop new AAA games, which if you count should be this year. But on top of that, a lot of these studios were significantly smaller when they bought, having hiring sprees and new processes and resources come in once they joined Xbox, obviously taking more time to develop new AAA games than seasoned studios. And once more than that, you throw in the pandemic, the move to remote work, and the displacement that a lot of the situation caused. To me, seeing these games expected mostly in 2024 and 2025 just seems logical, and I don't think criticisms of these studios being mismanaged is valid unless these games come out broken or just not really very good. These games are the third and final step I feel Xbox really has to take to be the great platform everyone knows it can be, and will be crucial to the success of not only this generation of series consoles, to Game Pass, cloud and all their future endeavours, but the future of the Xbox brand itself. My favourite Xbox franchise by far is Fable. I played through these games for the first time a few years ago and absolutely fell in love with their charm, humour and world, and seeing a glimpse here in-game and running on the Series X confirmed by a developer. So many assume this was CGI, but if this is what the game looks like when we're playing, we're in for something special. The in-keeping humour and presentation of the new take on the classic Fable Jack and the Beanstalk was fantastic, and the game looks gorgeous as well. The small glimpses we saw of what I assume are actually proper third-person gameplay looked great, and I really wish we could have seen more. And while I can't wait to play Fable, a significant issue in this showcase was the fact that we don't really see what we're doing in a lot of the game moment to moment. We got other glimpses of this in titles such as Clockwork Revolution and Avowed, but while that certainly is disappointing, it really just means that this game is further out than some others. Out of all the studios Xbox bought, Compulsion Games has intrigued me the most, as Montreal is a hotbed of game developer talent, and the other purchases seem to be studios they've worked with, such as Playground and Undead Labs, or studios that have a history of great but perhaps underselling games, such as Obsidian and Ninja Theory. Compulsion doesn't really fit within this mold. Games like We Happy Few definitely having potential, but are hard to call great. We saw a first look at their upcoming game South of Midnight, and just like the leaks confirmed, a dark fantasy game involving magic to track down creatures in an area inspired by southern United States. While we saw the game in engine and got to see the protagonist Hazel and the art style and vibe of the game, I'm certainly intrigued, but I'm eagerly awaiting to see more of this third-person action-adventure game. Many years ago, at the 2020 showcase, Avowed felt like the game everyone came away talking about most, but that was a CGI trailer and showing the general concept. The concept wasn't intriguing enough. Obsidian's take on a Skyrim-esque game. That for many was enough to eagerly await the reveal of gameplay, which we got at the showcase. A lot of people are much more mixed on this, seeing the art style change, but honestly, it's impressed me more. Obsidian are really doing their own thing with this, and the recent comments from them saying that they're sacrificing a bigger open world for a smaller, deeper experience has done nothing but excite me more, as I feel like this is less Obsidian trying to rival Skyrim, and what it did, but instead play to their strengths and make something more core to them, which while smaller games, focus on writing, storytelling, and choice and consequence. Hellblade 1 was an incredible storytelling experience, and I, like many, have been greatly anticipating the follow-up with Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga, hoping that this will be the AAA version of the game we all want. And while everything from this game has looked stunning, I was disappointed with the recent showing, as I really want to see more of the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, particularly the combat, but even getting a glimpse of puzzles would have been better. Still, Hellblade 2 is greatly anticipated, and the fact what we saw was in-game and running on Series X is nothing short of incredible, the level of graphical fidelity that Ninja Theory accomplished here. Clockwork Revolution, to me, was the perfect way to present a new IP. Cinematic trailers are fine, and I don't hate them, but showing the world a mix of gameplay and the general concept of Clockwork Revolution was astounding. Many got Bioshock Infinite vibes from this, and I did too, and I am clamoring for another Bioshock type game. But From an Exile is even more exciting, bringing their RPG tendencies to this game, and having the gameplay and theme revolve around time travel and changing the past and future. I need this game injected into my veins right now. Other than Starfield, a general comment seems to be a lack of in-depth moment-to-moment gameplay. And while this was disappointing, I feel like we saw a lot about these games anyway, and I assume as we get closer to the releases of these games, we're going to get a deeper look as we did with Starfield here, or even earlier in the year like Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall in other developer directs and other events. Another strong aspect is that of Xbox and their Game Pass and partnerships here. Having titles like Persona 3 Reload day and date is huge, and I feel like this showcase made direct impact to hit as many Japanese quality games as they could. The Persona announcements, Metaphor Refantizo, Like a Dragon, Path of the Goddess, and honestly, these games on Game Pass is a great value proposition that I always take part in. I loved Wo Long Fallen Dynasty earlier this year, enjoyed High on Life last year, and was very glad I only had to waste time and not money on Atomic Heart, and I'm looking forward to Lies of P later this year. Other than updates for current games and the big Starfield showcase I'll talk about soon, I'm honestly quite shocked there was really nothing else from Bethesda. Absolutely no new game announcements and only updates for existing games. I understand from Tango and Arcane they've had games come out too recently, but I thought for sure we'd see something from Machine Games, either Wolfenstein 3 or Indiana Jones, and had good chances of something from Roundhouse or id. Though, perhaps after Redfall, and finding out Microsoft were hands off with Bethesda, they are now going deeper and evaluating the games in development at these other Bethesda studios, so we can have more games like Starfield and Hi-Fi Rush, and hopefully no more Redfall situations. Starfield had an incredibly long, dedicated direct taking place right after the showcase. It took over 45 minutes, showing so many different systems and locations in the game, and even after watching that, I almost feel like we barely scratched the surface. Bethesda was one time known for completely revolutionizing open world and RPG space, with Oblivion, Fallout 3, and Skyrim, but I feel like Fallout 4 felt more like a next step and not a step up, while 76 was just a complete misstep. If this game is as good as it looked here, then it truly will be the next step up for where RPGs can go, and I'm absolutely stunned by the amount of systems on display that all seem so unique and fleshed out and all work together with each other. From combat to dialogue to skills to the planets and worlds to crafting to shipbuilding to settlements to raiding and storytelling all impressed me much more than I thought it would, and I truly have not been able to get the game out of my head since that showcase. There was a line for me that really stuck out.
But Starfield isn't just a Bethesda Game Studios world, it's a Bethesda Game Studios galaxy.
And I'm not a big sci-fi head. In fact, I'm far more interested in Elder Scrolls 6 than just about anything else. But even I, after this showcase, am so eager to create my own journey in this Bethesda galaxy. As well as, I feel like presentations like this are almost the perfect way to showcase these games. Xbox has always loved putting faces in front of these games, and having the developers of this game go through and slowly explaining their designs and their favourite parts of it is the perfect representation of that Xbox philosophy with actually displaying what the game is. While I don't think a lot of games will need directs this long, I hope that many of the upcoming first party get their own directs that are similar in style. There is something that has been looming over the head of Xbox and the game industry for well over a year. That's Microsoft's attempting to purchase Activision Blizzard, which is a huge deal and has come over a lot of scrutiny from regulators, with both the UK CMA and the US's FTC attempting to block the deal going forward. I personally think this deal will eventually go through, though this isn't based on analysis or anything, it's just kind of a gut feeling. If you want legal analysis, there are far better places to find it. What I find most interesting about the desire behind Microsoft for their largest ever purchase to be Activision Blizzard, I think it makes a lot of sense looking at it through 3 different versions of Xbox's business to help propel Game Pass in these areas. For console, obviously Call of Duty yearly into Game Pass will make a huge difference in the attractiveness of that service, and Xbox are always pretty much guaranteed the biggest holiday blockbuster game, as well as select Blizzard games such as Overwatch and Diablo, making a difference there too. What I really think this purchase is most important is for having a foothold in PC and mobile. Blizzard is first and foremost associated with PC. Games like World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Overwatch, Diablo are all mainly PC games with some decent console options for some of them. And these games will make PC Game Pass much more attractive. And while cloud takes a while to get going, Call of Duty and Warzone Mobile as well as King can help teach Xbox about the mobile market and the kind of experiences that do well there. I said this on Friends many years ago, when Xbox started investing a lot into cloud gaming and Game Pass, that to be truly successful in this new realm opening up, they had to be the biggest and the most diverse publisher on the market. And the fastest way to get there would be to buy other publishers that specialise in different things. And after their many independent studio purchases, Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, it seems Microsoft has realised this too and are full steam ahead into creating this new and exciting future for Xbox. Built off primarily one thing, to make its consoles, its cloud offerings, Game Pass, and anything it can do as a platform more appealing, and that's the games. And what this most recent showcase showed, more than ever, is Xbox committed to making these interesting and compelling games for us, and honestly, they're almost here. It seems ambitious, but their ideal 4 AAA games a year seems within reach in the next few years for them, and PlayStation seemingly being content with 2 AAA games a year at most, and one of them being this new live service initiative from Unproven Teams. I think by the end of this generation, at least in mindshare, the scale between these 2 juggernauts will be a lot more even, and at least compared to now, will be a lot more positive for Xbox. I'm very excited for the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, and let me know what your thoughts are on the recent Xbox showcase and their future in general in the comments below. Did you like this showcase? Are you excited for the games or not? Tell me why or why not. If you want to see more content like this or about other games in general, I have a lot more on the way. I've been writing a lot but haven't been able to get around to recording, but that's starting now. Please subscribe, and until next time, cheers and have a good one.